Chapter 40. Hotaru is awakened by the slight tremors pulsating in the room. She doesn't open her eyes, instead listens to them like a melody. They are far in the distance, faint and constant, like a solemn drum pounding to a heartbeat. The wind across her face, or lack of, is dead and cold. Her eyes spring open and she shoots up. Again she lifts up from a bed, but unlike the kingdom of Isis, where the mattress was soft, suspended by sturdy wooden posts and an air of soothing aroma filling the room, this mattress is flimsy, lopsided, and inches away from the grimy floor, which smelt of mold. The walls, like the floor, is pure cobblestone, condensed like a prison cell. A single steel door awaits at the other end with a peephole at the top. On the ceiling is a steel grate with many holes, allowing the dim moonlight to peer in. Other than the uncomfortable mattress, a wooden table bearing a huge crack down the middle of the surface sits in a corner, along with two chairs showing similar smaller cracks along the legs. However, the chair closest to the mattress has one of its legs held together with thin twine. Then, accompanied by a tremor, a splash of water. Soon it stopped, and a heavy, muffled grunt pierced through the thick wall. A slam just outside shook the door. Hotaru jumps up, staring down the only exit with a magic spell sitting in her hand, as she is unaware of where her weapon has gone. A loud creak emits as the door opens. From the slit of the door, the moisture air fills the room, bringing the temperature even lower, but in return wetting her dry lips. The dim moonlight reflects off the water behind him as the door fully opens. Dragging a large steel chest is a burly man with a rugged but chiseled face. His short black hair is like wild forest grass, unlike his stubbly chin and lips. He adorns a gray tunic with matching trousers, though the tunic has several rips, exposing the toned muscles and chest underneath. He fully brings the heavy box in, his face glistening with sweat. Her heart races at his impressive physique, watching how thick veins pop from his arms as he drags the chest, unbothered by its weight. He looks to her, closing the door. He shoots a quick smile. The way his teeth show is unlike anything she has seen before, as if he was trying to make her laugh. "Finally you wake up," he said, with a pleasant, deep voice. "Here I thought you were dead, but it's good to see you up." She doesn't move or speak. The flame in her hand grows. "You can put that fireball away. I have no intention of hurting you. I found you on the floor and thought sleeping back in my humble abode would be better than the monster-filled plains." She freezes like a statue. She remembers the fall. "That's right," she thought. "Baramos is dead. But who was that monster? What did he do to us?" "I'm guessing you want to know what happened after your victorious fight. After all, that was supposedly the end of your journey. Who are you?" He turns to her, his face offended by the question. "You're messing with me. Who am I? Did you lose your memories when you dropped down here?" He rubs his head, though his face now just looks as confused as hers. "Oh, that may be the reason. Hold a moment." He takes a deep breath, bringing his hands beside his chest, then back to his sides. His blue eyes are peaceful, until he flinches back with his hands in the air. "Bah, it's you again!" She jumps back like him. "Robin Hood?" He points to himself with his thumb. "The one and only." He takes a seat on the creaky chair, leaning back with his arms behind his head. The legs bend, barely holding his weight. "Call me Robin, though. That whole alias I only use for the world above." "World above?" "Take a seat, kid. You want to know the truth, right?" She accepts his offer, stepping over to the empty chair. Carefully, she plants herself, afraid the chair will give way. Grandma always told me to be ready for the truth. Is this what she meant? I'm not certain what your grandma told you, but hidden underneath your world is mine, Alfgard. The believers of religion say it was once the original world of the goddess, though after she fled to the dark world, an evil creature of darkness snaked his way up to take the throne. Personally, I didn't believe any of that hogwash, but now, those religious folk might be up to something. She recalls the horrifying face on the wall. Zoma, that's the one. Ruler of the underworld, he calls himself. Makes you think if he's referring to this place. Her heart feels torn. I don't understand, she muttered, placing her head on the hard table. Why would she not tell me? Anyway, Zoma is the big bad ruler who runs the place. The monster you fought, Baramos, was only a fraction of the power that Zoma has. How do you know so much? She asked, lifting her head, wiping the table's ancient dust off her face. Everyone here knows the same thing. Baramos was a simple distraction to keep the world above in check. It was Zoma's plan and a reality we all accepted. Except for me. That monster took my daughter away from me. She was only a child. I was not going to sit here and let him get away with tearing my family apart. However, I am a feeble man, a cog in his twisted machine. Step out of line, and I was easily replaceable. That's what I thought until the army from above arrived. She peeks her head up. Was it my father? Couldn't say. I never got involved. But a warm, hopeful light shone down for the first time in my life. A path was made to the land above. I spent the past year learning every weakness Zoma had and robbed what your world calls a chimera wing and was finally free, searching for the 3 relics to reach him. She gasped, yet no words leave her lips. He stands up from the chair and steps over to the chest. It's a steel chest covered with rust. It has no lock, but its lid appears to be welded shut from years of age. However, like how he dragged it in, he brings his fingers underneath the lip and throws it open without a struggle. The steel lid shatters the cobblestone with a large thud. A light shines from out the chest, brightening the room in a gentle gleam. Your grandma was right, though. Baramos' castle was what held the Sunstone. Just wish I didn't have to scrounge through rubble on Zoma's plains to find it. With one hand, he brings up a shimmering rock in the shape of a generic, unrefined ore found in a mine. Its orange hue is much like the nostalgic sun. It radiates a warmth, warding the dead, cold air, replacing it with new life. He places it on the table at its center. A somber smile he presents to the stone. Shame it was all for nothing. With the way above closed and 2 more pieces to the puzzle, I'm afraid my journey ends here. You're serious? What about avenging your daughter? My efforts won't bring her back, and I've done a collection of regrettable actions to get this far. Continue down the path, and the man I once was will die along with her. An awkward silence fills the air. However, the tremors give her a hard time from thinking. She worries about her brother, her friends, even with all the warnings of her peers. Once the real fight began, it was already over. But what if they are still fighting? Despite the horrors we saw at Japan, the lives and hopes that were lost. Fedir came back to us and Aziza was with him, alive and well. They even found a way to fight back. She stood from the chair, gazing at the steel door, her eyes furrowed. I appreciate your help, Robin, but I can't give up now. Not while the people I hold dear are still out there, fighting for a better future. What makes you certain they are still fighting, or still out there more importantly? You were the only one I found. Despite the horrifying reality of his words, a smile spreads across her face. I can't even begin to count the amount of times we should have met our end, but we didn't. Call it whatever you want. but we are bound together. They are my family. I won't force you to take a stand. I somewhat understand how you feel. That's why we will go forward and avenge her, and everyone else who lost someone dear." A breath of air escapes his nostrils. A smirk reveals itself. He grabs the sunstone, handing it over to her. She takes it from his hand, and the warmth pulsates like a heartbeat. "The two relics you seek are the Staff of Rain and the Sacred Amulet. You have a good mindset, kid. Never forget that. I will help with what I can." He leads her to the door and opens it to the water outside. "Let me be the first to introduce you to Alfgard." She steps through the door. Outside, the wind is still quiet and not present. Out in the open is a massive lake of dark blue water. The land they stand on is an isle alone in the middle of nowhere, with the next port of land not in sight. However, in the distance, opposite of the full moon, where black clouds form in the sky, is a massive mountain range. That over there is Zoma's castle. From here you can't see it, but it sits there. What's with the black smoke spewing from there? That would be the volcano. It has been active since I could remember. Probably why smoke looms over there. Ignore it for now, though. Heading over by boat is nothing but a cliffside waiting for you. He leads her over to a shoddy raft. It has a pair of roughed-up wooden oars, with a single post at its center with sewn together dirty rags to make a flag. Leaned against the pole is a large potato sack. "Well, this is your new ride. It ain't no Vento Eterno, but it will get you to the other side." The way her eyes shift along each damp plank has her slightly regretting the words she spoke moments ago. Even though they were captured on the merchant ship, with any moment of disobedience rewarded with meeting the end of a saber, it felt more safe. Nevertheless, she hides her true feelings about it away from Robin, as he has this proud smile about his work. "What's the bag full of?" "You will need those. Something we grow here might sound a bit outlandish, but they are called fading jennies." She flinches back. "So this is where they come from." He leans his head. "Huh. Never expected anyone from the land above to know of them. Maria had one. Aziza took it and turned invisible. We used it to infiltrate Adina to fetch a bucket." He scratches his head and whispers, "And here I thought I was the bad guy." He coughs. His eyes beam down at her with authority. "Anyway, it means less explaining on my part. It's important you have a fat stack of those things anytime you travel on foot. Zoma has a full view of his plains, and if he catches anyone strolling about, he summons a bull to take you out. And if that doesn't kill you, the fearsome monsters will. Promise me you load up on these at every opportunity." "I will," she answered like a child listening to their parent. "Good. The closest town from here is Tantagel. Just follow the path of the moon, and it will be a short distance from there. You should be able to see it once you land. Follow the shoreline towards the smoke. Avoid the plains at all cost." "Okay. Thanks for your help." As she steps onto the wobbly raft, she can't decide which version of him is worse. Recalling all the times they encountered each other, he always did seem to be around like an overprotective parent. Maybe even with an added life of crime, you still hold on to such traits. Honestly, without him in the picture, a small part of this journey is lost. She frowns as she paddles the raft away from the isle.